No, you can go.
I'll go straight on. I've got a clock and everything. I should watch this, shouldn't I? We shouldn't overrun because we're running. Well, no, I have a problem with time. I just go off on a tangent. Hello. So this is my first one I've ever done. That's a bit of, this might be the third one I've ever done. So talking without anything funny being in what I say. So that's going to be, oh, I've got out a bill, that's the wrong thing. Bill for the Radisson. Hang on, I wrote down some notes. And where did I cleverly put this? No, that's another. This is, here we go. The NAPF speech, which, and you're no longer that anymore, yeah? I spent all morning trying to learn to, the National Association, Pension Fund, and now, what are you now? A different set of letters, okay. But more groovy and more streamlined and more something or other. Sorry, handbags. There we go. Okie dokie. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon. I can't tell. It's just gone 12, so it's good afternoon. Blah, 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 blah. So, today I'm just going to tell you. Going to do this all the time? No. All right, 5 minutes, okay. Jesus Christ. Take good ones, okay? They're all good ones. They're all good ones, yeah? I've seen some of them, they're not so. If you're a bloke and you shove on makeup, it doesn't always work. Let's begin with that, shall we? I'm going to tell you, I came out 30 years ago. My genetics are bizarre. So are yours. All our genetics are completely bonkers. Well, not bonkers, they're just weird. Because we get given a set of genetic cards. I don't believe in a God. I think it's a random, you know, going parents, grandparents all the way back. And I've noticed the cameras go flish, flish, flish whenever I do that. Oh, sorry. But anyway, genetics. So I was given this. I'm straight transgender. Apparently, I'm trans now. I was transvestite when I first realized. I knew when I was 4 or 5. This is why I'm sure it's genetic. And if you have, see the hands move and it goes, the cameras go click, click, click. Some of you may have come out, some of you may be LGBT, some of you may be that and are not saying it, and you've lived your life in a closet. It's tiny in there, but anyway. I would encourage you to come out at some point in your life before you drop dead, because maybe when you're on your pension. Maybe that's something to spend your pension on, is coming out, because it's so much better. My God, even though I don't believe in a God, it just is. It's sort of, anyway, 30 years ago, it wasn't fun. The day of coming out, I had this idea that I could talk to 6.5 billion people, as there were then. There's now an extra 500 million people since I've come out, which is kind of scary and a problem for the future. And I thought I could have knocked on the door. I could have gone around, knocked on the door of all 6.5 billion people in the world and said, no, I'm straight transgender. I actually fancy girls. I don't know why. In the future, there'll be someone called Caitlyn Jenner, and they'll have the same sexuality, and that'll be a big sport. And, you know. I was going to be in the army, in the paratroops. Then I wanted to be in special forces, but now I'm not, and I'm performing. Should I come out, or should I just stay in the closet and lie for my life? And I think 6.5 billion people would have said, yes, stay in the closet, lie. It would seem the easier choice, and this has been done through our civilization, even back to cavemen, when they were saying, I want to wear what Sheila's wearing. They're saying, you are wearing what Sheila's wearing. Oh, well. There were points in history where clothing didn't, I want to wear her bear skin. Well, she's wearing bears. We're all wearing bear skins. Get over it. Come on. We've all got long hair. Hairdressers are a bit rough and ready back in the caveman days. So I came out. The day I came out, there was a transvestite, transsexual help group on Upper Street in Islington in London. And I was living up at Highbury Fields. It's about half a mile away from the only help centre in the whole of the UK. So I thought, this is fate ringing on a bell saying, you have to come out now. I'd already told an ex-girlfriend, her brother was gay, and she was cool about it. So it's just such a thing in your head. Anyway, so I went to this help centre and I got a bit more relaxed about it, and I met a young woman there. Just a young woman, she was a lesbian woman, and I said, I'm going to go out around town, would you come with me, just, you know, in case I collapse in a puddle of something, you know, just I lose my guts, because you need a lot of guts. This is the weird thing, you've got to be ballsy to be a transvestite. This is the odd thing. That's a very slow delay. I thought you were, that's not very fun. Yeah, I mean, the kind of guts, balls, whatever you've got to have, it's just intense. If you come out gay and lesbian as well, but there's not such a big signpost. This is a big fucking signpost. And I've fought people in the streets. I've done, you know, I've shouted. I used to, people would abuse me with the most abuse. If you've ever thought of any abuse, put it into a sentence, and you go, this coming right at me. Someone stood in front of me and said, "What the fuck is that?" Right to me. Very pleasant guy. I think he's dead now. I hope he's dead now. I'd have died screaming. That would have been, but I'm not sure. But anyway, the day I came out, so I came out and I was living with 5 medics, which I thought was quite a backup. Because by the Hippocratic Oath, they couldn't hate me, I thought, if they ever found out. But anyway, I hadn't told them yet. But I waited till they were all out of the house. Then I went out for the day, and well, it was a couple of hours, and I hung around with my friend, and we had a cup of coffee, and I was scared. And if you're a bloke, we tend to sweat more than women in your genetic thing. There's transpiring. I think women can get a lot. But anyway, blokes, if you know, when you sweat, it just comes out, and also panic sweat. So if you've got makeup on and it's panic sweat, it's a terrible experience. So you're just trying to keep calm. You're just trying to keep calm. So that was the day. And then I decided to come back. I couldn't go back in the house because there were medics there. No, they could have come back. You know, even though they were medics, I just thought I didn't want to go back in. I thought, I'll change. I'll go to the ladies' loos and I'll change. So I chose the ladies' loos, some ladies' loos, and there were 3 teenage girls in there smoking cigarettes. And they clocked me, and they worked out, that's no, and I had to run between cubicles because there were no locks on them. And so suddenly there was whispering, giggling, and I knew I was in for a session with the 3 girls who were going to give me hell. And it was an interesting, they had immense power. They must have been 13, 14. Cigarettes, they'd obviously bunking off. They obviously got a certain amount of chutzpah because they weren't at school. And now they were going to terrorize, in their own way, a 23-year-old adult male who would say, "Hey, mate, why are you wearing a dress? Why?" So they followed me. I thought, I can't go home. I'm just going to keep wandering for the rest of my life, maybe, with 3 girls. But it was an interesting dynamic there. They had immense power over me. I just had to keep going. I had to go away from my house. I just kept walking. Half a mile of that, and I just thought, stuff this for a game of soldiers, which is a great British expression. And they kept saying, "Why are you wearing a dress? Why are you wearing makeup? Hey, mate, why are you?" And so I thought, all right, here we go. So I stopped and I said, "Do you want to know why I'm wearing a dress?" And they screamed and ran. Now, this doesn't always happen like this, but it was a wonderful, I found this, that I'm now here, I'm now more confident, I'm now 30 years more confident. I'm running for office in 2020. Hopefully I can get elected. I campaign in girl mode. I have girl mode and boy mode. It's a superhero thing. I've tried to relentlessly positivize it, like that is part of my positivization thing. I came up with executive transvestite, action transvestite. Everyone would laugh, action transvestite, what does that mean? And then I ran marathons and they said, okay. So that's what that means. Because I did want to do Paras, I did want to do Paras or Marines and then get into SAS. That was my plan. Instead, I've just done Special Forces of Sexuality, and yeah, I'm ready to take on anyone. If people insult me in the streets, I will insult them back. Actually, I don't insult anymore. When people shout disgusting things at me, I say, because I found that shouting abuse back at abuse, you know, trying to top their abuse, if you've ever done advanced abuse, it's just foul words going on. But if you ever get into a situation where they're screaming hellish things at you, just shout back, "Merry Christmas to you. What a wonderful day. Isn't the weather great?" Well, yes. If you shout back pleasantries, it's bizarre. It kind of works. Okay, not to the pension people. No. Just take it from me. It becomes a weird... You've got to look aggressive with it. Well, you know, I now do aggressive politeness. This is my latest thing, which is... When my dad would go walking, we lived down at Bexhill-on-Sea and up on the South Downs by Eastbourne, walking, and as you were kids, you might have this, your parents would go along, if people were coming the other way, Dad would go, "Good morning, good afternoon," and as a teenager you go, "Yes." And now I do that, going around looking like this. I was going along a street to breakfast. I was gigging in America, and there were sort of street bums, people drinking out of bags and things, and they were looking up at me, and I just go, "Good morning, and how are you?" And then they go, "Well, okay." sort of aggressive politeness seems to be a way. Anyway, you've got to be on top of it. So anyway, so the humiliation of coming out is one of my big lessons. Now, my life to your lives, you guys in pensions. I did do accounting and financial management at Sheffield University. I could have been you guys. I sometimes fantasize about that. Not a sexual fan, just the straight Walter Mitty type thing. I used to go in as a street performer, performing at Covent Garden, where My Fair Lady happened, all that place. I used to go in the morning, sometimes with commuters, with you guys, the real people of the world, and we were kind of, we were street performers with earrings and dyed hair and stuff, and I'd go in, and I just thought, I could have been an accountant. Maybe I should, I just had this idea. It's completely inverse Walter Mitty, because I quite like accounting. I do. I quite like adding up numbers. I passed my accounting exams. I didn't do any work. I own all the copyrights to my DVDs, so I think that's passing your accounting exams. I think so. So, anyway, this thing about humiliation, it's an odd thing. I want to mention this because it can help you, any individual in the world. And any of the ideas I've got that I've worked out, I want to impart to people. Hopefully you have a good and positive heart, because some people are complete bastards in this world, and if they take the ideas, they can use them in very negative ways. So it's, like Nelson Mandela had great forces, and then you got Hitler on the other side, and he's putting a lot of energy, had a lot of get up and go, did Hitler, but no, please, just kill yourself, Hitler. Couldn't you have done it earlier? He did one good thing in his life when he shot his head off, but just timing was crap. So it is a thing. If you want to do something new, and you must have tried this in your lives, and maybe those things, we all have a creativity inside us. Churchill started painting at 40. If there's anything you want to do that's creative, I would encourage you to do it. And you'll do it, and it'll look not good, and you go, oh, forget it. And you might have done this in your life, but if you can go through the humiliation period of the beginning, it does get better. It does get easier. It's a dramatic thing. I mean, I did, what I think the Special Forces version of coming out. Everything in my career, I think, comes back to the days I started coming out, back when I was 23, 30 years ago. That thing, that difficulty of taking that on, because then I sort of went into street performing, and I wasn't wearing makeup at all. I was just thought, I'll put that back in the box and I'll just become a street performer. I was a terrible street performer. I was awful. I lost all my confidence, but I carried on, I rebuilt it. I went through the humiliation period, and I got better at that. And then I went into stand-up comedy. I realized this was the late 80s. I saw that this was the place, it was the happening thing, and I was no good at that either. I'm brilliant at not being good at anything. But I think we all are. If you can remember back in your lives, there's always been a period where you couldn't really do something. But I've just worked out that if you can keep going and keep going and keep going, you do get better. On the thing up there, it did say actor in it, and you mentioned that I'm better known as comedian, and maybe you didn't know I do any acting, but there was a point. Now I'm doing some work which I think is very good. If you've seen Hannibal, I'm very happy with my work in that. Treasure Island, I was very happy with. Lost Christmas, filmed here in Manchester. There's a number of roles. I think I'm getting to some very interesting work, but initially I wasn't very good, and it was kind of humiliating, and reviewers were saying, this is not good. And somebody once said, why do you want to be a so-so actor when you're a really good comedian? I said, well, because I used to be a so-so comedian. And this is the thing I have learned in my life. I can get through humiliation, and I think you can. I think we all can. It's a bit of a journey. You don't necessarily know that it gets better. I'm just trying to impart an idea that if there's something you want to do, and it's positive and it's creative, don't live this life and not try it. And always be doing new things. Always be doing things. Terry Gilliam is a brilliant person, I think, because he's doing opera now and he wasn't doing opera before. Always be learning new things. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. You've got to teach old dogs new tricks. Otherwise, they just become old dogs. That's the real... That's what it should be. That's what we have to do. We have to keep this brain going. You constantly have to be pushing on that. So this is my theory. So I had... I dropped out of university at 19, and my career took off when I was 30. There was a big 11 years of wilderness years there. I've taken Churchill's wilderness years, and I shoved them right at the front of all the time Margaret Thatcher was in power. I was having a rough time, and I think that's because of her. Yes, I'm not a fan of Margaret Thatcher. She had a lot of get up and go, but yeah. I am not a fan. She was so divisive, and she didn't seem to care about anyone. That seemed to be a slight problem. But yeah, I have learned stamina, and I've learned determination. I'm completely bloody determined, and I'm positive, and I want to do good for myself. I want everyone to do well. This is part of my politics. This is radical moderate. What is a radical moderate politically? Well, I believe in business. I believe in entrepreneurship. If not, well, look at my life. I've gone from the streets of London to playing Hollywood Bowl. Pretty entrepreneurial. Just playing 28 countries on this tour, which is the largest, I think, most extensive comedy world tour ever. So I totally believe in business. Ideas, building things, making things, service industry, new ways of doing stuff. But I also believe in the safety net, people having a hard time. I think if you take your money, you risk it, you should be able to win big if you're developing new businesses. If you're not doing that, and you're going for a salary job and you work hard, then you should get a good job and try and get a good pension. And I know it's more difficult nowadays. My dad got a fantastic pension at BP, and I know that everything has changed. And if you refuse to work totally and you just say, I'm not going to be part of society, then, well, then that doesn't work. That doesn't work. So this is it. And radical moderate, I don't know quite how I will do things when. I think it would be ridiculous for me to say now exactly what I'm going to do politically if and when I got elected to anything, because if you're just elected as an MP, you can't really do much except in your own constituency. But what I'm trying to say with the radical thing is that running 43 marathons in 51 days, it's fairly radical. Going from the streets of London to playing Hollywood Bowl, playing America, playing all 50 states of America, playing Madison Square Garden. It's not supposed to be done. It's coming out and saying that you're transgender and keeping a career going. I came out to the press 6 years after I'd first come out, and this was right at the point where my career was taking off. I could feel it taking off, and I just thought, I need to tell the press now, so then I can't put it back in the box, and I can't live the lie. They need to know, and I needed that everything needed to fall where it fell. I just had to take that chance. After so long, 30 years old, because I'd wanted to act since I was 7, so I was 30, and after such a long push, I could have just blown everything out the window. He's a transvestite, let's not go and see his shows anymore. Those were the stakes. So I did that, and this is what I mean. But I think it's really moderate, because I'm not trying to attack anyone. Being transgender is just being honest. You'll all know, sitting there with your own genetics, the things that you've got, which are positive, things are difficult, things are darker, things are lighter. We just get handed out these cards. Some people get a terrible set of cards, and it's through no fault of their own. It just seems to be chance. And I don't believe in a God. I don't believe in an afterlife. I know we've got this life. I just think we're here, and this is it. So we may as well live the best one we can do. There's a bumper sticker when I was training for the marathons that said on the back of a car, "One life, live it." And that, I realized that's what I was doing, and that's what I believed in. There could be another life, but no one successfully got back and just shouted through the clouds, "Hey, there are 2 lives, there are 2. It's Janine from number 23. Yeah, there are 2. There's another one. All right, do them good, but there's another one." And no God has ever come down. The Son of God, the Daughter of God, the Milkman of God has come down, but no actual God has come down of any of the big faiths. And just all got to turn up for one day, and not in a swamp. He's got to turn up in front of the BBC or CNN, not in front of Fox News in America, because you won't believe that either. They've just got to turn up. Any God in the universe, turn up for 5 minutes. I am God, sorry, I've been busy. It's a big old galaxy. Anyway, it's out there. Be good, and then you get jam and everything upstairs. And if not, we're going to hit you with wet towels for the rest of eternity. Just do that, and we'd click in, wouldn't we? We'd all be in church. We'd all be praying like crazy. We'd all have prayer advisors. Yeah, pray early in the morning. He doesn't get up till late. So pray at about 2:30. That's the best time. Same as Twitter. And we would click in. So I've decided, I've analysed what I try and do with politics is, well, these are mistakes. You'll probably know I'm positive on Europe. I think if we can't get the European Union to work, then forget it for the world. Goodbye, world. Those are the stakes. I think we've got to get a fair world by the end of this century, maybe before. Otherwise, someone's going to invent something that's so small, so undetectable. They're putting bombs into liquids in their bodies. Despair is the fuel of terrorism, and hope is the fuel of civilization. This is what I've worked out. It seems to work this way. I've tried to study humanity, see how it moves. I've tried to be positive. I want to take the radical nature of trying to do things differently. It's only radical because I'm trying to do things differently. I think out of the box. I try and come up with systems that don't work. If the systems already work, let's go with them. We think pensions is good. You guys are doing pensions. Pensions is good. Do you want to get rid of pensions? No, let's keep pensions because that idea is good. How you do it with baby boomers and things and working on, there's a deficit because but getting rid of pensions, no, I don't. As you go, if we go through the mists of time for eternity, if we live forever, our kids and our kids and our kids still be pensions. So there's a system that works. Didn't happen in the old days, happens now. So that's it. I'm just trying to be radical with things which are rubbish. If it's no good, and my dad bizarrely did this before. He changed accounting in BP refineries. He met my mother in Aden in Yemen, and they got married there. My brother was born there in 60. I was born there in 62. And now, one of my radical things is I'm now performing in different languages. I've just come back. I'm very tired at the moment, so I sound like I'm a bit on drugs because I'm just talking. But it's actually just sort of sleep deprivation because I've just done the first ever tour of France in French. Obviously, there are other French people who've done tours of France in French, but it's such a long-winded title. First ever tour of France in French by an English speaker. So I've tried to get it down, and I'm very impressed with what I've done. A lot of people don't give a monkeys. We sold over 5,200 tickets to French-speaking people. Tous les spectacles en français. C'était incroyable. J'ai cru que c'était très difficile et il était très difficile, but maintenant je peux le faire. Okay, you didn't understand any of that. I could have said anything, but doing it in French, and I'm touring in German now. Alles auf Deutsch. Ich kann mein Show auf Deutsch machen. And that is sehr schwierig. You didn't understand that either. Okay, but it's difficult in French, difficult job. But by doing this, the Germans are now doing comedy in English. The French are doing it in English. The Russians, the Italians, the Scandinavians. It's the cutting edge of ever. It's 200 years since the Battle of Waterloo. And I just toured France with a French kid. And now that he was doing the first part and I was doing the second part, he's now performed in English. He's playing Finland in English, and Estonia, and Latvia, and Berlin. He's just going to Cape Town. The French can now tour everywhere through the medium of English, which is not an invasionary language anymore. It's just out there for everyone. So this is thinking out of the box. I can think up things and because of this, I can think up of ways of doing things that just are not on the list. No one's thinking about them. And people may hate what I'm doing, but I hate them. And because I think I've got an alarm that says stop talking. So yes, anyway, I've run through a bunch of things there. But the stakes on Europe, I'm just going to say that I think if we can't make it work in Europe, if we're for running and hiding, UKIP are for running and hiding. I'm not. I think the British people, we're not running and hiding type people. If we want to change it, we've got to be inside it to do that. And if we can't make Europe work, then how the hell are the other continents going to do it? And how the hell are we ever going to get agreements between all the continents to get a fair world where everyone can be at peace and we won't have to have millions or tens of thousands of refugees coming in, which is causing us a problem at the moment. But if everyone had a fair chance, that wouldn't need to happen. That's the only future we've got. And as pensions people, I think you're always looking for the future. You must be. You must be constantly looking for the future. You must understand. We need to have a future for the world. So, anyway, on marathons, I should just say a quick thing on that. They were tricky to do. I did 6 weeks training. I ran 43 in 51 days. We helped raise 1.8 million for comic relief. And the thing is, they get easier after 10 marathons. That's what I learned. So if you've got a dream, go for it. Try it, even if you're not, because I'm in a place where I can move and I can adjust and I've set up gears. Now you're in salaried jobs and you're think great ideas about pensions, think great ideas about your life and your family. You can do things. We can all do more than we think we can do. That's what running the 43 marathons is all about. I now do high heels and I do marathons, and that juxtaposition is, I think, pretty positive. But if you've got any, do you want to do questions? We can do.
Yeah, let's do questions.
I'm going to, because I'm leaving 15 minutes for questions just because, I don't know, maybe too long, whatever. But yes, if anyone has a question, ask me a question and then.